sovereign fluidity, the ways power disseminates, and to try and detangle Foucault's ambiguous biopolitical subject. So Foucault frames biopolitics through humans and only briefly mentions animals. However, the instance in which he does presents striking language for me. So he states, "For millennia, man remained what he was for Aristotle, a living animal with the additional capacity for a political existence." He says modern man is an animal whose politics places his existence as a living being in question. So for Foucault, both ancient politics and modern politics begin with this anthropomorphized version of the animal. So we have the living animal and then just an animal. So it appears for him, like in his thinking, I don't know if this was intentional, if this was a slip, but it seems like the animal is fixed within his biopolitical thinking for him. And so I'd like to proceed as if like the animal is fixed within biopolitics, as if it is somehow like the center, like either like the animalization or in terms of shelter, animal shelters, we can extend this to factory farming too. Like animals are somehow necessary or somehow like are always the target of biopolitics. So the animal shelter with its surplus animal populations, prohibitions on reproduction, and sovereign regulation of life and death is a paradigmatic site of biopolitics. The construction of the shelter relies on several fundamental biopolitical components: bare life, the animals themselves, regulation of bare life and death. So this can be portrayed through like a relinquishing owner, a veterinarian administering euthanasia or the drugs. Yeah, even just like certain like regulations. I know a lot of apartment complexes say that you can't have dogs over like 50 pounds or something like that, or like you can't have German shepherds or pit bulls. They'll have a list of breeds that you can't have. So, yeah, and then the unwanted populations, those are the unadoptable animals themselves. And so the largest organization of shelters in the US, the Humane Society of the United States, declares the following: "The Humane Society of the United States is committed to creating a safer, kinder world for cats, dogs, and other companion animals. We provide legislators, communities, shelters, and pet owners the tools and information they need to eliminate animal cruelty, end the tragedy of pet overpopulation, and provide safe and happy homes for companion animals and their people," in parentheses. Nowhere does the organization mention regulating the life and death of these animals. This critical omission disguises the result of shelter politics, the death of so-called unadoptable animals. So a language of sentimentality allows the precariousness of animal lives in the shelter to go unnoticed by a lot of Humane Society supporters, when the reality of many shelters is one where lives are regulated and biopolitics becomes a political framework upon which like the shelter is built. And now like I am an English student, so I'm going to talk a little bit about literature and how I read this in, have you guys read like J.M. Coetzee's novel Disgrace? Some of you, okay. So South African writer J.M. Coetzee's novel Disgrace illustrates the animal shelter's biopolitical performance. Coetzee's language and approach to both shelter animals